All them boys know now is
FedEx.
no freights and you see him. He proud. He haven't embraced it yet. He's trying. Hey, yeah. Hey, you at the right spot. You're tuned in to the discussion with the MR.NOLDS organization. We here. Welcome to another discussion with the MR.NOLDS organization. I am your host, Hernold Michelle. You know, I got my buddy here with me, Devin Fuller.
What it is, what it ain't.
Let him know what it is. Hey, today he with us the full episode. My boy doing it big now. He traveling out of town. He taking flights. Hey, we got Zokid in the building. Hey, stay tuned. We working on a project, and you know, MR.NOLDS organization, we back up our people. So y'all stay tuned, man. Hey, also for check out our page, the MR.NOLDS. Yeah, so we're gonna be participating in the creators function by Zeke Official. Y'all can follow the creators function page every year. Annually is where, you know, a bunch of believers, young adults, you know, teens, we come together to have a showcase, show off our creative talents, whether it's music, art, fashion, all that good things in the mix. So you want to stay tuned. This year is going to be November 28th down in Miami. So follow the creators function page, follow Zeke Official, so y'all can lock in and get the dates and stay up to date. And you know, we definitely going to give you guys a recap on how the MR.NOLDS and NOLDS team, you know, how we did over there. So, last of today, we have an interesting discussion. I want to do a two parts, because this topic is very serious. This topic, man, is something. It's something for the ages, and I feel like it's not a lot of light being shined on this topic, you know? And the topic is trauma. Now, we know there's all type of trauma in this world. There's emotional trauma. There's all type, you know, we're not even going to get into the type of traumas that's out there. Like I said, this is part one of the discussion about trauma. A lot of us, you know, especially from the inner city, those who were, you know, was raised, you know, single parent households, all that stuff, you know, we face a lot of traumas, but those traumas, we never heal from those traumas. So we carry those traumas into our adulthood, into like everything we do, and it affects us. So, you know, I was listening to something just a little bit ago, like a few minutes ago, and the guy had to say, he was like, man, you know, when it comes to trauma, it's either you're gonna deal with your trauma or your trauma gonna deal with you. Either you're going to deal with your trauma or your trauma going to deal with you. A lot of stuff that we do, you know, is from our childhood trauma. So one of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about is childhood traumas. How many of us have some childhood traumas where like now, the way we move, the way we act, the way we behave, we still flowing from that childhood trauma, you know? And I want to list out a few childhood, not just childhood traumas, but a few traumas that, you know, we deal with that, you know, affect our life. So one of the traumas I've noticed, you know, there's a lot of people that's not able to voice themselves because they're dealing with a childhood trauma or a trauma where, you know, when they were being raised, you know, they didn't have a voice in their home. Like some of us, you know, we was raised in houses where, like, you know, our parents didn't care how we feel, and when we did try to communicate how we feel, it was like, man, you know, yo, like, be quiet, you don't got nothing to say, like, yo, I'm the adult here, like, you know. So it made us, you know, shut in whenever we felt something, whenever we were going through something, we balled it up inside because, you know, we was raised, yo, stay quiet, don't say nothing. So now fast forward, as we grow up, as we're going, you know, as we move in life, some of us never deal with that trauma. So now it affects us in relationship. So like when we in a relationship, we feel some type of way, we don't communicate to that partner. Not because the partner gonna make you feel like, dang, what you gotta say is not important, but because you're so used to like shutting in that, you know, now it's not easy for you to communicate. So we gotta heal from that communication trauma. That trauma of, you know, what I gotta say is not important, what I gotta say don't have value. I wanna let everyone know who's listening right now, male or female, your voice and your feelings are important. So you have to look at yourself and be like, am I dealing with that trauma? Because a tip I want to give you, in order to deal with a trauma, the first step is being aware that you have that trauma. If you're not aware that, man, you know, you're dealing with that trauma or you have that trauma, there's no way you'll ever make the steps to heal from it. A lot of us dealing with that trauma of, you know, being bullied, being told that we're not as smart as other people, that trauma, we can see that it affects us. It affects us like as we get older, because, you know, a lot of us will be, you know, will be scared to do certain things. It'll be certain situations where, you know, people are talking to us and we'll get offended quickly. Like somebody will probably try to help you and then they're not even calling you stupid, but because you're dealing with that trauma of like people always calling you stupid in your past, you'll be so quick to be like, yo, don't talk to me like that. Yo, why you feel like you have to explain this to me? Now, you don't think I get it? That's a trauma. Like you're on edge due to the fact that, you know, when you were younger, or not even when you were younger, because us adults, we face traumas too. Adults face trauma. As a young adult, young adults face trauma too. So maybe, you know, you're on edge because, man, like, you know, you didn't let go, you didn't heal from what those people did. I want to touch on trust. Trust is a big one when it comes to traumas. You know, a lot of us, you know, let's just say, again, they say coming from a single parent family, you know, you lost the trust of either of your mother or your father. And then, you know, growing up, you know, people started just like maybe that boyfriend, you know, or that girlfriend you trusted, you loved, you did everything, you put everything on the line for that girlfriend or boyfriend, and then they just ripped your heart out and you never healed from that trauma, and now you carry that trauma with you. So it could be your own experience, or it could be the trauma of you were in a house, you saw what happened between your mom and dad, you saw what happened between your aunts and your uncle, and you're like, man, like, yo, I'm not gonna trust no dude, because you saw what happened. So now you're living, because you never healed from that trauma. Now you get in a relationship, you just questioning things. Like the guy don't pick up your phone, it's like, what were you doing? Like, you know, she's studying, you can't reach her, all of a sudden you think she with the next dude. But you see, that's a trauma. Like you facing that, like you carrying that trauma because you never healed. I'm about to open up the floor for the two guests, you know, the guys that's in here. Like, what other trauma outside of three I just mentioned, do you think like people face or battle with?
Like PTSD.
Like,
PTSD. Like,
what do you mean by that? Explain for those who don't know what PTSD is.
People see like something tragic happen, like somebody gets shot in front of them.
My God.
Stuff like that. Or,
okay. Do you know the what does PTSD stand for?
Traumatic stress disorder.
Huh?
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Oh, like
what?
Traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah. Another example.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Another
Post-traumatic wait, say that. Help me with. Look, we learned this together.
Post-traumatic stress.
Post-traumatic. You know, my guy, he uses big dictionary words. Post-traumatic stress disorder. For those who don't know what PTSD is. So like my guy just said here, I'm gonna let him, you know, that's for the people you know, you saw somebody get shot, you saw a terrible car accident, and then now, whenever you get in the car, you're like, yo. So like now you have a fear of getting in the car. So you have a fear of like going to the park because you know you went to the park and you just saw somebody get shot right in front of you. That's a great one. So that's number 4. You know, the PTSD. Say that on?
People in the army, you know, people that do crimes.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. I hope you don't got no experience with that. Okay. You know, like you said, people in the army, like a lot of times, you know, people come back from the army and they hear a noise like boom and they go, they like they ready to grab a gun like, what's up? Where you at? Same thing like you said, people who do crime, like, you know, they hear the police siren and they go like they start tripping. Yeah. So PTSD is another trauma that we got like a lot of people deal with. Like, you know, if whatever you gotta do, like I said, the first step to recognizing that there's a problem, the first step to dealing with any form of trauma is to recognize, to have awareness like that problem is there. So you gotta check yourself, like, you know, is there something that happened to you in your childhood that every time like you see something and it reminds you and then you start acting a certain type of way? You know, I know people, when they were young, they got bit by a dog. The moment they hear a bark, they looking to, it's not funny, but they're looking to run. They scared. You can't live like that. Like, we can't live, like when people who deal with traumas, I mean, people who never deal with their trauma, it's like you trapped in a prison of your past. Whether if it's trust, whether it's communication, whether it's something horrific that happened. If you never heal from it, it's like that moment or that situation have imprisoned you. What is another, you know, trauma that you think, a form of trauma that people deal with? We talked about the trust. We talked about like horrific situations. We talked about trauma when dealing with communication, self-esteem. Like what other ones you think, like, you know, like typically people deal with? Pressure.
It could go through like a lot of things, like your parents expecting so much of you, or like your friends peer pressuring you to do something.
Yeah.
So another form of trauma is pressure.
I don't know, like there's a different way to say it, but I'm not sure what it is.
Cause I heard that before, like your parents pressure you so much to make you perfect.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
A lot of us, you know, whether it's from our parents or our peers, you know, the pressure of especially let's say our parents, because our parents, whether it's one parent or both, you know, we as humans, we want to make our parents proud. We want the acceptance of our parents. We want our parents to be proud of us. So, you know, the pressure sometimes of our parents, especially at a young age, can cripple us. So yeah, that can result, you know, as we get older. We see it a lot of times, like those who were pressured when they were young, when they get more freedom, like, you know, they go crazy. They're the ones, they're throwing the raves, they're doing the bong parties. You know, those groups, they don't want to go to college in their hometown. They're going to college far from their parents because they're dealing with the trauma of the constant pressure and, like, you know, the constant, like, yo, do more, do better from their parents. So yeah, I believe that is one.
I don't know if this can be in traumatic experiences, but like sexual abuse. There's a lot of trauma people
that's
deal
traumatic.
with.
Yeah, that's part of traumatic.
It's a lot of stress. There's a lot of trauma that people deal with as well.
Yeah, that's definitely part of traumatic.
That could make someone, you know, turn homosexual.
Yeah, yeah. So we got to heal. Yeah, that's one piggyback. I think that was probably like number 3 or number 4. But to be more specific in that area, yeah, definitely like sexual traumas. There's those, you know, that's been raped. There's been those who've been sexually abused. You know, those things you can't take lightly. But there's a thing, you know, you must heal from that, because if you never heal from that, you're doing yourself harm. not forgiving that person, not moving on from that situation, it will only hurt you. It will only harm you. You want to be able to heal. Healing is for you. Forgiving is for you. It is never for the person. It is never for the person who harmed you. It is never for the person who did you wrong. When you move on, when you heal, when you forgive, ultimately it is for you, because then you get to live life again. But when you don't forgive, when you don't move on, you're stuck. And I'm not saying like every second you're thinking about that thing, but every now and then situation happens in your life will bring you back to that situation. A lot of young ladies, a lot of young men, some marriages don't work out. Why? Because trauma of mistrust. Like they have a lot of distrust. So you can never really move on, because look, that one situation that happened in your past is still haunting you, even as you get older, or even as you life move on. You never want certain situations. You don't want to get, let's just say, in a relationship, like I had mentioned, you see, you're not able to communicate because of something that happened to you like long time ago. Like people made you feel like what you had to say didn't mean nothing. So you're now, because you didn't heal from it, you get in a relationship. Now that relationship will really never work out, and now you're being punished for someone did a long time ago. A lot of times, what we're saying here, there's a thing that says it's easier said than done. I believe that it is easier said than done to just say forgive, move on. But what I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's in your benefit. If you're listening, I'm saying it's in your benefit. It's in your benefit to move on. It is in your benefit to forgive. It is in your benefit to want to heal from those traumas. Because as long as you're traumatized, as long as you hold on to those traumas, it will continuously affect your life in different situations. But the power question of this discussion, what is a trauma that you're dealing with or you've dealt with? So what is a trauma that you're dealing with probably currently or you've dealt with, and how did you heal from that trauma, or how do you plan to heal from that trauma? Or what do you think you could do to heal from that trauma? So this is another discussion with the MR.NOLDS organization. Thank you for joining us. Now, hey, y'all need to subscribe right now. Y'all just got some good tips. I just told y'all how to get over y'all mess. Y'all go subscribe. And don't be selfish. Go share this. Subscribe first. Hit that notification bell. And then right after you do those things, don't be selfish. Bless somebody else. Share this with them. Share this right now. Like, if you don't share this, there's something wrong with you. That's probably a trauma. You're probably dealing with a trauma. You don't like sharing. Maybe, yeah. Like, why you don't want to share this? Share this right now. Right now, share. Get over that trauma. Share this right now. Prove that you're not dealing with a self. They used to take your cookies during lunch. We know. Hey, get over that. Share this right now. Share right now. And we're going to be back with another discussion with the MR.NOLDS organization next week. We're going to see you. Hey.
Oh my gosh. What are you talking about, man?